Welcome back to Success is Weird and Messy. I'm your host, Kathleen Gabriel. Each week, I talk with entrepreneurs about their stories, the obstacles they faced, and the changes they've made. Today, I'm joined by Hilary Dolbee, the founder and CEO of VisionPath CFO. She and her team drive organizational change in order to maximize revenues, increase profitability, and optimize company value for their clients. Hilary, so good to see you.
Hello. So good to be joining you. I appreciate you inviting me along to share my story.
Anytime. So to kick us off, tell me more about Vision Path CFO and something that I know not everyone knows. Tell me the difference between a CFO, a CPA, a bookkeeper, anyone else with 3 letters after their name. What is everyone?
Will do. So not the first time I've heard that question about what is a CFO. So a little bit about my company. We are fractional CFOs, which basically just means we work with clients on a limited time basis, any day, anywhere from 3 hours a month to a day a week. Why? Because the clients we work with, they don't need, can't afford, don't want a full-time CFO. My firm, we specialize in interpretation. We are interpreting financial statements and bankers and CPAs and lenders and accountants and financial statements and the IRS and the federal government and anything else that you can think of that a business owner gets that they're like, I have no idea what to do with this. So, when you take corporate level CFO experience, you've hit a lot of those things over 20 years.
Yeah.
And so, as an experienced person, when you get a letter from the IRS and you're like, I don't know what this means. Do I owe taxes? Am I in trouble? We look at it, we go, hey, this is the interpretation. This is just a notice saying you didn't have your 941 signed correctly. Let's get it signed and send it. Okay, great. Now, I know if they work with an HR person like you, that probably would never happen. But
Well,
yeah, I know. So really, it's the translation, the interpretation of information that's coming in, the translation of that information to help business owners understand their numbers. They make better decisions today for tomorrow in order to move their company forward. So my favorite thing of all is the light bulbs. And that's when we look for folks to join my team, it's the same for all of them. So, we're not going to just hand you a piece of paper and say, here you go. We're going to hand you a piece of paper and say, this is what this is what it means, and this is why you care. And then what are we going to do about it? So, what is the definition of a CFO? So in most anything, we have people who do the daily work. So if you have a bookkeeper or an accountant, they do the daily work, very historical. What happened? What check did I write? What deposit did I make? Who paid me? All of those kinds of things. And then when you have a controller, that's somebody who, or a director of accounting, maybe in a little bit bigger company, that's somebody who is looking at the department as a whole. Are the financials done? Are they accurate? Do they reconcile to the bank? Wow, that bill really went up. Why does that look so weird? Let's talk to the person who's managing that piece of the company and figure out, what's working, what's not working. You get into the CFO. So both of those, both the bookkeeper accountant level and the controller level are folks that are really well versed in accounting rules and regulations. They completely understand, the detail of finding the penny and where does all that go. And you get to the strategy level, it's a little bit of a different brain. Yes, I can do all the accounting stuff. No, I don't enjoy it. My favorite thing is problem solving. So, I feel like good CFOs are people who are a little bit like an orchestra conductor. So we can sit in every seat. I could probably get through doing your taxes, although I'm not any good at it and I'm not a CPA. I could do the reconciliations. I can do the bank statements. I can do a lot of things. But what you really want me to do is to evaluate your company and whatever issue we're looking at today. Let's pick payroll and say, why is payroll so high? What do I do about it? Look at your financial statements. What does it say? What is it telling me? What are the metrics that you're looking at? So you back into, a financial statement 2 weeks after you close the month isn't going to help. What are the metrics you're looking at when you're actually scheduling staff and creating that over time? And so from a CFO perspective, we are a whole house. We look at everything that's going on in the business. We want to make sure that everything's accurate, complete, compliant, no question. We want to make sure that people are informed and educated about what is the numerical value coming out at the end of the month of what they're
Mhm.
doing in the business, right? And then really the favorite thing is to sit at the leadership table with the owners. Why do I have profit and no cash? Why do I have
Mhm.
sales or revenue and no profit?
Yep.
When can I hire someone? when do I have the cash to, expand, or should I close my company? I have no cash. Or how do I forecast cash? Any of those things that come up. It really is it's another brain at your table. And from the CFO position, it's just a different mindset. It's where, that's where my brain works well. I am not a tax person. I know enough to know you should call tax people. So CPA, right? Generally CPA, which is a certified public accountant, that's licensed. People took tests, they passed the test. They have to have a lot of ongoing education and training. Generally in the small and mid-sized businesses, we think of those folks as tax people, and we love them. And I love
Yeah.
bookkeepers, and I love payroll people who are in all of those details. But somebody has to draw all of that together. And really it's the orchestra conductor of that tuba is not in tune and it's not working. Why? And what do we do about it?
I think there is a real need for that understanding of what am I spending on and what should I be investing in to get the results that I'm after? Because it's very easy to say, oh, well, dollars in, dollars out, I'm sure it's fine. And business is universally more complicated than that.
Oh yeah.
You know, having someone who actually knows what they're talking about and can actually drive a strategy. I think the fractional model is where it's at for small businesses because, you're not going to be ready to hire someone like you.
Yeah, and I mean, somebody like me, full time in a business, in a $10 million business, after the first month would probably go, well, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Right? Because the people in the business, you either selling or you're servicing your clients or you're taking care of things. You're not making life altering changes every day.
Yeah.
You're not dealing with the IRS every day. When you need to, great, let us be there. Let us help.
Yeah.
And it's just in that time frame of when you need it, we're there on a part-time basis. Now, I will tell you, here's my secret. Are you ready?
I'm always ready.
I know. The secret to running a successful business, the ultimate secret, it is this easy. You need more cash coming in than going out.
What?
Oh,
No.
I know. So see, now everybody knows the secret. They can do that. The issue is just like with anything, as you said, it's just more complicated.
Yeah.
It is. It's just I have sales. Great. Did you make a profit? Nope. Let's
Yeah.
let's work on that. Did you fix it? Yeah. Okay. Now you have profit. Do you have cash? Nope. I still can't pay my bills. Okay. Let's fix it.
And I see that all the time on the HR side. And when you're looking at personnel, is people are very expensive.
Yes.
What are we investing in when we hire people? Are they accomplishing the business function that we need them to do?
Yep.
And do we have enough money coming in to make that repeatable? That sounds so easy.
It
And
does. Yeah.
yet,
Oh yeah. It's totally easy. Not a problem.
that is why everyone in business is always successful.
That's right.
Yeah.
And I think, if people are wondering whether they need a CFO, generally the first thing that business owners run into is, oh my gosh, I cannot get all of these things done in a day. Well, don't do the things that somebody else can do, right? So bookkeeping is, I mean, there are a lot of really good bookkeepers out there. Trust but verify. You want to make sure that you're focusing on the stuff that's really what you do well, which is why I am not an accountant. I am a CFO. And I know there's things in every fractionals world in HR. There are things you love to do and don't like to do. Can you do them? Sure. No
Yeah.
problem. But really that from an owner perspective, probably the first step as you're growing your business as a bookkeeper to help you figure out, what are your numbers? Like, do you actually have a profit and loss statement? That kind of a thing. And when you get into those I don't know answers, I don't know why I have profit and no cash. I don't know why I have sales and no profit. I don't know when to hire. You're probably ready for a CFO.
So you've been in business for a while. You have been running your own business as a fractional CFO, and as I said before, leading a team of other CFOs. What's changed in the time that you've been in business? When you started, did you have a vision of, oh, I'm definitely going to be doing this, and now you're not doing it, or offering certain services and not really doing that?
Yes, no. Not how that
I
works.
mean, you're still a CFO.
It's still a CFO, yeah. So I came out of my W-2, my history's in hospitals and health systems. So I worked for the corporate world, public and private and big and small and seen a lot, but pandemic changed things for a lot of folks, me included.
Yep.
So I went to work for a national firm that provides CFO services. And I'm just like, I want to help someone. I want to solve their problems and I want to help them work on what the issues are. And I decided to go out on my own and start my own company because I wanted to focus on that translation of information. And I wanted to be able to do it for more folks. And so, because there's only limited time in the day for any one person to work, I wanted to grow my company. And so, yeah, when I started, it was, how can I help you? We are very customizable to folks. There are CFOs out there who are a little bit more prescriptive, like they have a process that they walk you through on education and getting things set up, which is great. And there are a lot of companies that's a really good model for. And then there's a lot of companies that, like, I have this problem today, let's work on this, and then we'll go back in and do those kinds of things. So my vision, I guess, has not changed in the fact that it's the light bulbs. It's really helping people understand. The development of VisionPath CFO has been a vision and a path for me. But
Hey, good name.
yeah, has also been, I think what I would love to do in the future is, I'd love to help 1,000 business owners move their companies forward. And what I'd like to do is to take that group of up and coming folks from the accounting and finance world that want to be a CFO and help them learn how to do that well, at least in my opinion, to do that well, and to give them some tools and tricks and some mentorship and some help that you can go out and affect more businesses. I am a firm believer that small and mid-sized businesses run the world. That's how our economy's built. That's how we keep people employed. They're very local. They're very driven to support their communities. I have a knack to understand financials and help other people do that. And that's how I contribute. That's how I give back. That's how, we support businesses who support communities. And it's really just trying to help those folks survive another day and to grow. We all want to grow, and growth looks different for everybody. When I first started, I'm like, nope, I'm good. It's just me. I'm good. Took Friday afternoons and, went and had lunch with my mom. It was great, but I wanted to grow. Now, am I going to be 1,000 CFOs? Probably not. But a group, yeah, I think a group of folks being able to help others and other business owners and really all business owners are looking for is someone to listen and to help them understand.
Yeah.
They're really good at whatever their thing is, whatever their widget is that they're making or they're doing or they're providing. That's an accounting term, by the way, widgets. But they just need some help in understanding the finance numbers. And there's no blame or shame in that. If you don't understand finance and budgeting, that's okay. I don't want to, nor do I understand all the tax rules, right? Everybody's got their thing, and this happens to be mine. And I try really hard to find good people that also have that. This is my thing. This is what I get and what I do.
I do that all the time with my clients of, if you're an engineer who knows how to build amazing products, why on earth would you happen to know on the side
Yeah,
as a hobby every aspect of business operations?
right.
And even if you did, is that the best use of your time?
No.
Like, I think I'm going to make an embroidery sampler that says just because I can doesn't mean I should.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing for all of us
It
is
is.
if we find what we're really excellent at and then go out and help other people with that, then we all get to rise up
Mhm.
together. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
And one thing you mentioned that really resonated with me was you talked about how you want to grow in mentorship.
Mhm.
because I feel like that is a piece that is dwindling in the personnel space, is a lot of companies are moving so fast on such narrow margins that they don't allow the space to have their people learn and grow.
Mhm.
And so there really has to be other ways to make that happen. So I love that that's part of your entire vision is let's open up the space and create the space where people learn.
Yeah. And there are few and fewer people going into accounting and finance, that there's a shortage. So if you can't find a good bookkeeper, accountant, or tax CPA, you're not alone. There's a shortage of
Yep.
them out there. And so, yeah, it's just bringing people. I mean, people have done that for me. I've gotten great advice over the years on, no, go this way, or what if you turned a little bit this way? Or, my mentor, most recently, we were talking about what advice did I give that was so great? I don't even remember why we were talking about it. And I'm like, you told me to stay top of mind. And it didn't particularly matter how fancy my newsletter was or my post on LinkedIn, and nobody cared if I was a cheese ball, which is what I always think I am. What they care is that, are you providing good information? Are you giving them some tips and tricks? And then when they have a problem and it's painful, okay, but maybe it's not the right time to fix that pain. So now when it's the right time to fix the pain, great. Now they know you, now you're here, now you can help. And it just seems really easy. The other thing I would tell you is that if anybody who's in business thinks they have no thinks that everyone is their competition, there are so many people out there who need good, solid help in the HR space and the IT space and the marketing, and find the person that works with you. And if it's not me, great, let's find somebody who works. If it's not you, Kathleen, okay,
Yeah.
let's find somebody else, because
Yeah.
you have to have the right kind of personality and fit in helping you in your business. I mean, let's face it, we are talking about some intimate things that nobody wants to air their dirty laundry about.
Mhm.
Finance, HR,
Yeah.
IT, I get it. Nobody wants to do that. So it's really about finding the right fit and working with those people who can help where you are and where you're going. And that's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you can collaborate with other people who are in the same business you're in. I collaborate with other HR folks all the time. I talk with other HR folks because we can trade war stories in ways that it's hard to with other people.
Yes.
And also, like you said, just because you're doing a thing, you do it in your way.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that you're in competition with someone else who's doing it their way.
Hmm.
I have my focus in business. When I'm not the right person, I absolutely reach out to my network and say, "Oh, well, I know other HR people who might be a better fit for you."
Yep.
Absolutely, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
Would
Yeah. The underlying approach, which is why I love hanging out with you, is we want to help the business owner get what they need to solve whatever the thing is that's keeping them up at night or making them worry or stopping them from moving forward or whatever the thing is. I genuinely just want them to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
And it's look, I'm a businesswoman. It's not that I don't want clients or I don't want people to pay or all of those things, but that's not the first. The first thing is how do you help the client? How do you help them understand, move forward, get what it is that's stopping them from taking their business to the next level? I mean, you could be helping the next Apple, you could be helping the next person that changes the world. They may cure cancer, or I don't know, end hunger or something. You think about it, and sometimes it's not that big. It's the little things that feed into that. And I am amazed. That's probably one of the things that I have found most striking since I started working outside of specifically to healthcare. So a lot of different industries that we work with. People are so ingenious.
Yeah.
They come up with the most amazing things, and processes and ideas, and how to use this and to change that, and how do we grow technology and how do we change technology. You're working with somebody who's going to change the world. I think that's pretty cool.
And honestly, I've found time and time again that if you're really just searching for the right people to work with, The right people to work with are the people who will pay you.
Mhm.
The right people to work with are the ones who will be with you for a long time and continue that collaborative relationship and help you grow your business just as you're helping them grow theirs. I mean, that's a win-win.
Yeah.
I think that's the right focus, because if you just focus on money exclusively, you're going to find a ton of wrong people who
Yeah.
will give you money in the short term and that will cause you a lot of pain in the long term.
Right. And money does make the world go round. We have to have it.
Yeah,
But I also agree, like, can I have a little fun while we're doing it? can,
please.
can can we, make absurd analogies and figure out how things work and just it's okay. We're helping people. We're moving forward.
Yeah.
We're great.
So with that, you've been collaborating with people, you're mentoring people. What's the best advice you've gotten, or what's advice that you've gotten you're like, no, not for me.
So the best advice probably I've received is make decisions you can defend on the front page of the newspaper.
I like that a lot. The other terminology I've heard from that is dance like no one's watching, email like you will be subpoenaed.
Yes, 100%. And you want to make sure that you're making good decisions. And when I'm training new department leaders or training, helping folks understand, like, I spent $1,000 doing something. Can you stand in front of a group of your peers, tell people you spent $1,000 on whatever it was, and they not laugh you out of the room? You might be okay.
Yeah.
If they start giggling when you start talking and they're like, glad I didn't do that, the answer is no.
Or if they look up like the local police number or whatever it is.
Yes. Okay. But it's, understanding that, keep it simple, make good decisions, take care of folks. And I'm an accountant, finance, money person. The advice I don't particularly heed is you have to make gobs of money off of every client. I'm a firm believer in passing it forward, in, the serving others before you serve yourself, and the servant leadership and all of those things that just make good stewards of resources and human beings and people and money eventually. It comes around. It's okay. But I've had folks that I've talked to and, given proposals to, and they're like, now's not a good time. I got to call 12, 14 months later. And he's like, I'm ready. Let's go.
I actually just started work with exactly one of those. I just was like, all right, now's not the right time. You know where to find me. Well, sure enough, they knew where to find me.
I would say, from an accounting and finance perspective, something that business owners need to know is trust but verify. So I have a client that I started working with, and right before that, she had discovered embezzlement in her firm.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
And you go, and it's the standard stuff that like she was so busy growing her company, she turned it over to this person, and she's like, no, she's got it, and they're handling it, and they're doing all these things, and that's great. And she wasn't checking her bank accounts, and she wasn't checking the credit card statements, and she just assumed that because this person said things were going really well and getting done, they were. And so, to the tune of about $270,000.
Yikes.
Unfortunately, this person was also a family member.
Oh, and you know what? That the trusted circle of family, of friends, of people that you already know. So you say, oh, well, I don't have to vet this person. I know them.
When you start talking about money trouble, good people can make bad decisions because they're in a tremendously tough spot, and people can justify it. And so it's really easy. You trust but verify. Look at your bank statement, look at your credit cards, understand where your money's going. And if you have any kind of those inklings in your stomach or your brain, or I don't know, your left foot, and you're like, something's weird, trust your gut. It probably is.
Yeah. I'll say even further than that, lots of times this sort of thing will happen maliciously,
Yes.
but equally, sometimes it'll just be through actual involuntary incompetence.
Mhm.
Like, I didn't know that I was allowing this thing to happen, and now we've siphoned out a couple $100,000 in ways that I didn't expect.
Right.
And if there's no one tracking that, if there's no one, like you mentioned, the profit loss and balance sheets and all of this, if you have those but don't know how to interpret them, well, then you really get caught flat footed because
Mhm.
all of a sudden your bank says something different than you expect. And yeah, trust but verify, and verified in different ways.
Yes. Yes. And good people, especially I would say good finance, accounting, numbers folks, if you want me to show you how I did something, I'm happy to show you. Right? I did it the right way. I know what's going on. I can share information. Yeah, here you go. So if you have somebody who doesn't want to communicate, doesn't want to talk to you about what's going on, doesn't want to share, all of those really are leading indicators.
Yeah, that's red flags. Well, and especially because in terms of the service that you provide, honestly, the service I provide, the business owner having a better foundational knowledge of what we're talking about only helps.
Yes.
And so, and it doesn't, it, again, going back to the beginning of the conversation, our job is not in danger when people know more about what we're doing, because we're still going to be doing all of those things. In fact, our job is more secure if we're making the company more secure, the business owner more secure. So all of those things, just helping out the other business helps our business grow.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely.
So how do you see sort of financial strategies, ideas, practices evolving and changing, and how can business owners stay ahead of that?
So I think from a strategy perspective, it is the same and changing at all times.
Yeah.
Political environment, interest rates, all of those things, you do have to pivot. The basis of all of that is understanding where you are and where you want to go. Do you have a plan? Do you have a budget? Do you have a forecast? I don't care what you call it. But do you have an understanding and a thought of where you want to go from today to tomorrow? And then looking at that, it doesn't have to, it can be a back of the napkin. That's one of the things I read. One of my clients, it's like, well, I don't know the accounting term, but it's this. I'm like, I don't know the accounting term. Let's go look at it. I mean, I did, but I don't care that you know the accounting term. What you know is here's the information about your business, about what's going on. And so really having an understanding of that foundation of where my business is. The strategy is where am I going? And then how do I get there? Sometimes it's people. Do I have the right people? Do I have the right hiring practices? Am I turning people over? Great. Call HR, my friend Kathleen. Let's figure out how to be good to our people. That lowers the cost. Sometimes it's financial, it's marketing, it's sales. But the strategy part is you got to have some idea of where you want to go. And do not get hung up on the whole, it's not in this kind of a format or that kind of, I don't care, it's fine. A lot of formal strategic plans get put in notebooks on the shelf and then we go do work. The thing from an ever changing perspective is nobody can predict the future. And I am not pro politics one way or the other, but listen to the general consensus. If the general consensus of the news is that interest rates are not going to go down, left, right, center, up, down, I don't care, they're not going to come down, then be aware of how that affects your business. Tariffs.
Yeah.
Right. So we started talking about tariffs. Some people were very knowledgeable. They really understood how they affected their business. So this is like no big deal. I know what I'm going to do. I have plan A, I have plan B. I am now in plan C. Great. Other folks who really had no idea how tariffs affected their business are now in panic mode because, oh my gosh, this affects everything. And what do I do about it? So the strategy is thinking about all of those things that could affect your business. Strengths, weakness, opportunity, threat. What's working, what's not working? Do you have the tools? All those basic questions. And so I think from a strategy perspective, what I would tell people is keep it simple. Literally answer the question, where am I today? Where am I going? What are the 3 ways I could get there? And do not be afraid to move from path A to path B. If all of a sudden you need to pivot, nobody predicted COVID. Nobody predicted the pandemic. How many companies pivoted, whatever. And those that were successful during COVID were able to pivot. Smoothly, quickly, pretty? Nope. It was ugly, but they came out on the other side, right? We had a lot of businesses that got created during COVID. We had a lot of business that went away. My business is 99% virtual. I would not be able to serve all but 3 of my clients, if not 4, COVID and Zoom because we work virtually with folks. So I have clients all over the country. So I think that's the biggest in the strategies. There are pieces that are just super simple. You need more cash coming in than going out. How do you get people, to move forward with you? And then the ever flowing change in strategy is, what is the world going to serve up to you next? Locally, regionally, from a state perspective, and from a federal perspective, and what kind of contingency plans, for lack of a better word, can you put in place so they end up being there, and they may not be perfect, and that's okay. It's perfection's the enemy of good enough. If it can get you from point A to point B, that's what you need. And in order to be able to stop the slide or the effect or whatever it is that's going to change your business.
Yeah.
It's a really long answer to your question.
Whatever. That's great. I love it. I love it. Because you're absolutely right. Lots of deeply imperfect businesses thrive just because they keep going, just because they have the ability to change enough
Yes.
in the moment where change is needed.
Yeah.
So I think that's a very important thing to point out of like, yeah, you know what? The middle is always messy. And honestly, in business, it's mostly middle.
Yes. Yes.
So
Every time I get in my W-2 career, every time I went to a new place, I'd be like, these people have it together and they're so wonderful. And then you sit down at the kitchen table and you figure out the dishes have spots on them. The food is too salty. The napkin's not polished, or the silver's not polished, and the napkin's not pressed. I mean, everybody has that.
Yeah.
So, it's go, okay, my crystal's got spots on it. We're good. Oh, you got a plastic cup? Okay, we're good.
Cool. You got a cup. That's good enough. So Hilary, I'm going to ask you the same question I ask everyone, which is, how do you define success?
So success for me, from a business perspective, is I would like to reach as many business owners as possible and really to help them. Like, I don't have a number of, I want them all to grow 7X or, exit for whatever, but I want them to walk away saying, I was able to take a step forward in my business because of the help that VisionPath CFO provided. Sometimes it's direct help. Sometimes it's, I sent them to an HR person. Sometimes it's, oh my gosh, they helped me sell my business, or they helped me get a loan. Sometimes it's, I just listened. We do a lot of therapy work because as business owners, I mean, I'm one of those people, I got to talk it out. Like, let me rant and rave and tell you all the things that are wrong. And then, okay, well, if I said that, then I can fix this and, move on. So from a professional perspective, that is step one for success. Step two is the mentorship program. I'd love to be able to say that there are 50 CFOs out there who are kicking it because they were able to come and get some kind of training and be supported. And then from a professional or from a personal perspective, it's really being able to spend time with my family. I have a couple nieces who are getting older, and my parents are getting older, and all that, people first kind of thing. And I think someday I'd like to do some traveling and some, hanging out with some cool people and cocktails on the beach and that kind of a thing. But, I think you can do both, and really trying to figure out how to navigate that is a thing. But I still think it's a doable, achievable thing that we can get to. That's success for me.
I love that, because that's very much having an impact on the world and having space for your own humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's great success.
Yeah.
Well, Hilary Dolbee, thank you again for joining me today.
You're welcome. This has been fun.
This is so great. Where should people find you online?
You can find us on our website, which is visionpathcfo.com, or hit us up on LinkedIn. And, we're happy to have a conversation with you. If you think I'm ready for a CFO or I don't know, we'll talk about it. It's okay.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, everyone, we will have Hilary's links in the show notes. Please go visit. You'll get some great advice. Thank you all for listening. You can find Success is Weird and Messy wherever you get your podcasts. And it helps us so much if you follow, rate, and review. And if you like the show, tell a friend. We'll see you next week.